This anti-Israel woman had a sort of realization moment where she was like, "Oh, maybe I was lied to about a lot of what Israel is doing." And here is a debate of Rudy Rochman basically convincing her about some of what the Israeli narrative actually is.
Every Jew should get on their knees and beg for forgiveness for the theft of Palestine, historic Palestine. You're saying that they're the only
historic
tribe
Judea.
there.
The Romans called the land Palestine as an act of colonization. There's a context behind everything that you say that you're not including.
I don't like what you're saying at all.
Of course you don't like what I'm saying, because it counters an argument that you're trying to delegitimize Jewish right to exist. You're using suffering as political ammunition to target each other will only continue the conflict.
I'm native homeland because God gave it to you 5,000 years
because that's
ago.
where we lived. That's actually where we lived.
Not where
Why
you
are you screaming?
live.
Why are you screaming? How's everything?
Last year.
Oh yeah? Did we have a conversation last year?
Might have.
Okay. So what's your stance why you're here today?
I'm here because I oppose the illegal occupation that Israel perpetrates on the Palestinians, the continued human rights violations, the confiscation of lands with the illegal settlements, the torturing and imprisonment of people without cause or even charging them. What else? Everybody should be protesting these things.
Okay, so
and all these people.
So before addressing this thing, are you also against the murders of Jews and the removal of Jews from their lands? So it's not just for Palestinians, it's for people in the land.
Okay, so let me just tell you about that. Israel has an uneven power in this region.
Currently, because
wait a minute.
Because until '67 it was the uneven power.
Let me finish. Israel is the one who is illegally occupying Palestine. Wait a minute. Israel is the one who's in violation of international law. Israel is the one who violates
but let's break down each one.
It's always liberal white woman. This woman is like, she probably just has this very low-key job, a lot of time on her hands. And she's like, Israel is illegally occupying Palestine.
Okay.
First of all, before we get into the illegal, okay, explain to me how Israel occupies land.
How Israel occupies land?
Yes. Which land, first of all, are you talking about? Just
of all,
the West Bank or Israel today?
I'm talking about, mainly right now, I'm talking about the West Bank.
Okay.
But honestly, every Jew should get on their knees and beg for forgiveness for the theft of Palestine. But at this point, there's no two-state solution. So it's all one country, and it was always one country.
Okay, so can I respond to you? I don't believe in it.
You're interviewing me, so you're
I want to have a conversation. Real conversation between real two human beings that actually care for the people there.
Okay.
So I don't believe in a two-state solution, okay? But in the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, you have a three-part division of the land. Area A, Area B, and Area C. Right? The Palestinians control completely Area A. There's a mutual control of Area B, and Israel controls completely Area C.
There's no complete control of any part
Area
of Palestine.
A is completely controlled by the Palestinians. It is.
No,
it is. They control it militarily and municipality-wise.
Okay. They may control, the government may control, the people are not free.
They're not, because the Palestinian Authority is on its 15th year of their 4-year term. The Palestinian Authority does not really represent the Palestinians.
I don't like the Palestinian Authority.
Me neither.
But I'm telling you.
But they're in the control of Area A.
Israel is in violation of Palestinian human rights, not.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
That's another topic. That's another topic. Let's focus on one. How does the fact that Jews live in their native homeland?
This guy isn't with AIPAC.
I'm not.
Native homeland because God gave it to you 5,000 years
because that's
ago.
where we lived. That's actually where we lived.
Not where
Why are
you
you screaming?
live.
Why are you screaming?
Where is your family from?
It almost looks fake. Guy comes up to him. You were promised this land 5,000 years ago. There's a lot of AI stuff right now going around with AI anti-Semitism, basically like making fun of like Jews going to other countries and saying, oh, this land was promised to me 5,000 years ago. It's a big anti-Semitism thing, but whatever. Anyway, I digress. Crazy.
My family's from Judea.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
The
Where's
Jews
your great-grandfather from?
Where they were born or where they come from?
Where are they from?
Where they from is from Judea.
Yeah. Where were they born?
Where they born is not where they're from, because they were displaced from the land. The same way Palestinians are born elsewhere today, you wouldn't say that that's where they're from, right? So just because my family was displaced from my homeland, do not say that that's where they're from.
It wasn't your homeland. It was Palestine.
So what? Who named the land Palestine?
It was always Palestine.
But at some point, there was a someone that called the land Palestine.
You know what? Your reasoning, I think you're very delusional.
I'm asking you a genuine question.
No, I don't think you're being really genuine.
Who named the land Palestine? You can't answer it, so you're telling me I'm delusional. The Romans called the land Palestine. This was 500 years before the birth of Islam. And they named it because it was Judea before. There was a civilization of the Jewish people, and the Romans conquered that land.
They weren't the majority. There were other.
No, 2,000 years ago. No, you're mixing up your facts now. You're mixing up your facts. 2,000 years ago.
You're lying.
The Philistines are from the island of Crete off of Greece.
No, there were other tribes there besides the Israelites.
Oh, so now you admit that the Jews were there.
Oh yeah, they were there.
Okay, so all right, now we've already gone somewhere.
Oh, absolutely.
Who was the first tribe there?
I don't know who the first.
I mean, the Jews aren't in a tribe. There are 12 tribes, but who was the first peoples there?
I don't know who the first tribes
Okay,
were,
so historically, when you dig in the land and you look at historical records of other nations that have poured in, they talk about the Jewish people being there. The Roman Empire colonized.
I'm not disputing that the Jewish people were there.
Okay, the Roman Empire.
They weren't the only ones there that they
The Roman Empire conquered Judea. They killed Jesus. Okay, and they renamed the land Palestine. This is 500 years before the birth of Islam. Why is that important? Because Arabs spread from Arabia through Islam. So Arabs had not lived in that land yet.
Look, buddy, I'm a Christian.
My name is Rudy, by the way. You can refer to me.
My name is Joanne. I just don't like the way you're reasoning. I think you're twisting the truth, and I don't think you're listening.
I am listening.
No, you listen.
Go.
I don't like what you're saying at all.
Of course you don't like what I'm saying, because it counters an argument that you're trying to delegitimize Jewish right to exist.
No, it's not. It's your truth.
You said 2 seconds ago that the Jews didn't exist there, and then now you say that they do.
The European Jews were
They're not European. They're from Judea. They were displaced into Europe. So you're saying that the Ashkenazi Jews?
They were one of the tribes in Palestine. They were one of them. You are trying to claim that it was all
What do you mean?
Jews
Ashkenazi
there.
are not one tribe. They're not
That's
a tribe.
Right. I'm not talking about Ashkenazi. I'm talking about the tribes in Palestine.
Okay.
In historic Palestine. You're saying that they're the only
historic
tribe
Judea.
there.
The Romans called the land Palestine as an act of colonization. The land was called Judea. Like historically, if you look at records, yes, it was.
It was in the Torah, but
no, I'm not. I've never mentioned the Torah.
No.
I'm definitely not using the Torah as a source.
I don't think you're accurate.
So it's important that you said that you think, because you don't know. So that's at least we're being honest here. But if you look at historical records of empires that had lived in the region or had conflict with people in the region, they refer to it as Judea.
The Jews do, and you're the only
And
people
I'm
that
saying
do that.
other nations. I'm saying other nations that had conflicts or had trade or had conversations.
It wasn't all Jews there, though.
Yes, there were non-Jews living there as well. I never said that.
They were the minority.
No, you're talking about 1948 and before that. I'm talking about 2,000 years ago. You're talking about 2,000 years ago, the Jews were a minority.
You're talking about historic Palestine.
Historic Judea. I'm talking before the Romans called it Palestine. You're saying that time when it was Judea, that
we don't need your help. Thank you.
You're saying that at that.
I just want to pause this video. Name what she is in 3 seconds. I'll give you 3 seconds. Describe her in one word. I'm sure you got it. She's a Karen. She's a liberal white Karen is what she is.
Time the majority were not the Jews living in Judea?
That's right.
Based on what?
That's right.
Based on what? Because it fits a narrative?
There were other tribes there.
Jews are not a tribe. Jews are 12
they
tribes.
They come from the Israelite tribes.
Right. No. Yes, there's 12 tribes under Israel.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But
they were not the only tribes. But see,
what other tribes live there?
There were other tribes.
What tribes?
I know that the Philistines lived there.
Do you know the history of the Philistines?
But I know that the Israelites were not, or the 12 other tribes were not the first ones.
Do you know?
And even if they were, Israel is now in modern Israel, they're in contempt of international law.
How? Okay, let's talk about that. But explain it.
I'm frustrated talking to you.
Why? Look, if
notice what she did there. She keeps moving the goalpost. First, she's like, yeah, Israel never existed. Palestine was there the whole time. Oh, actually, I don't really know. I think that Palestine was there the whole time. Actually, even if it was Israel, and I admit to you that actually I have no idea what I'm talking about. Well, Israel is very bad.
You're Palestinian, if you're Palestinian and I'm Israeli, the reality is that there's no future in the land without both of our populations finding a way. I'm trying to figure out a way for us to break down certain ideas and to stick on one. So if we talk about illegal occupation, if you talk about laws being
but everything I say, you act like it's the first time you've heard it.
No, it's not the first time I've heard it, but there's a context behind everything that you say that you're not including. So you said that it's illegal according to UN law, right? What international law does it violate specifically?
It violates occupying a country by force, and by after a war they are not allowed to occupy a country, and the occupiers have it's incumbent on them to protect the inhabitants of that country.
So Israel
is in violation of that.
So I heard your point. Can I answer you back? And I'm not trying to speak over you.
See, but your premise is that there was never a
No.
So
My premise is at the end of the day, there's no future without either of our populations. So it's important that we have these real conversations, because most people are trying to fight each other. And I'm not trying to fight. There's a lot I disagree with you. There's a lot you disagree with me. But I'm trying to figure things out. The reason why it's not violating international law is one, hold up, I listened to your point, right? For me, it was also, I didn't agree with it. Is one, the Jewish people are not a foreign power, they're a native population. And according to that law, if it's a war that is fought defensively, meaning if you are attacked, you are allowed to take land and annex it.
That's not true.
It is true.
No,
You have not read the law.
That's not
The
true.
law states that if it's a defensive war, you are allowed to
First
make
of
it
all,
as part of
wasn't
your
it
land.
defensive?
It was.
See what
All the
happens?
Arab countries around Israel attacked Israel to ethnically cleanse the Jewish population.
Oh my God!
What do you mean,
know
oh my
what?
God?
You're delusional. I think.
How am I
you need help.
delusional?
Yeah, I think there's no.
So-
because I think you're very warped in your thinking and in your knowledge of the situation.
And so you're very open-minded.
I am open to justice.
I am
I'm
too.
open to truth. I'm open
too.
to somebody who expresses the truth. But
Yes.
you are not, I'm sorry to say, expressing the truth.
I
You're
mean,
trying
that's
to,
very like biased and one-sided, because anyone can say that they disagree. And yet I'm trying to have a reasonable conversation. I've never elevated my voice coming to you.
Okay, let me just ask you this.
Yes.
Do you agree with the human abuses that they perpetrate on the Palestinians every day?
I believe that both populations are experiencing vast amounts of injustices, that I'm against the status
like
quo.
What?
Like, I'll tell you on both sides. I've lost 4 friends in one summer, and Palestinians, from Palestinians, not all Palestinians, but Palestinians that went and killed them, okay? That doesn't define all Palestinians, that defines those individuals. And there are Palestinians living in Gaza and in the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, where they don't have access to movement, they don't have access to resources, and that exists, and that has to end. However, using suffering as political ammunition to target each other will only continue the conflict.
If Israel wants to protect their security, then they need to give the Palestinians their human rights and dignity and equal share in the country. It needs to be one country with equal rights and,
I agree with
and equality for everyone.
I agree that it should be one civilization with everyone living there
That's right.
equally.
That's right.
I believe in that.
Well,
But
I'm glad we both
are you
agree
okay
on
with it
that.
being called Israel?
You know, they could rename it something like, I don't know.
But that's important for us.
Well, it's also important for the Palestinians.
For what? For it to not be called Israel? That's not true.
It's not your country. You know,
It
it's
is,
really
because it
not.
was our
No, it's
civilization
not.
that was taken away, and it was revived in
No, it wasn't.
1948.
No, it wasn't.
But
guys
you
are
agreed
the
that it.
guys-
You
no.
agreed that
I'm
it
not
that
going to go
before.
back to age of civilization with you, but at least we
So why
agree
do you-
that the Palestinians deserve.
We agree that also the Jews, correct?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so
everybody.
every human being living in that land should live equally in that land.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We agree on
At least
that.
you have one point.
Yeah. I mean, the
Well,
future,
it
which is the
took
most important.
Maybe a half an hour,
No, so I'm not here to speak on behalf of APAC. Like, I'm press going to APAC, interviewing different people to see their opinions. But what I want to tell you is that a lot of people on both of our sides never have real conversations, are not able to see the humanity in one another, and because.
All right, we'll stop it there. Rudy Rochman again does a great job, and she says that she's fine with the Jews having equal rights. Well, the people that you represent, the Palestinians, actually are not fine with that. They want the Jews gone the second that they inhabit the land, and that is again the one question that it all boils down to in every single one of these debates. If Palestine or the Palestinians were the big power here, we wouldn't be having this conversation. There would be no Palestinians debating, in the Palestinian Knesset, what should we do with the Jews? You know, it is a problem. You know, what should we do with them? You know, it wouldn't be there would be no two sides to that argument. There would be no, pro-Jew Palestinian member saying, no, I think we should just let them live in the land and gain citizenship. That's exactly what we should do. No, he would be kicked out very quickly and perhaps even executed. It would be similar to what the Germans wanted to do to us in the 1930s and 1940s, and it would not be pretty. For more, subscribe to the channel. If you want to help us make more of these videos, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JewishUncensored. You can also go to our channel memberships page and join there as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.